In progress.
Hi, welcome to our today's session. It's a second session of today's class, and this is another online course which we started a couple of weeks ago. Oh, sorry, I think that went something wrong. I think that something went wrong. Let me see. We are just fixing the technical issue here. Okay, I don't know. I think it's got something wrong. Hopefully you are now listening to me. You can listen to me.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Right, let me double check.
Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome to our second session of today's class, and that is also ongoing course which we are studying. It's a very important and unusual topic of on pain body, which everybody almost have, but we haven't identified. And what does it mean by that? The pain body is actually those unresolved energies, those unresolved negative energies which remain unfulfilled within ourselves in form of body pain, in form of mental or emotional pain, and that we show and we express them in different times when we are unconscious usually, and we are trying to identify, and the purpose of this course is to identify pain body, factors affecting on pain body, and how we can control it actually. So today we actually on a second last session, second last episode of this course, and it's a very important topic which we are going to cover in next 20 minutes, uh, on suffering of women. That we understand that we women have been brutally misused, abused, uh, betrayed by society, especially men, in different times. I'm not talking about all men, I'm talking about those specific men who have a sense of superiority, who have the sense of some gender biasness, who have been suppressing the women from thousands of years in different dimension. For example, in form of domestic abuse, in form of physical torture, in form of mental abuse and torture, in form of rape, uh, in form of financial restricted environment, in form of liability to brought up the children, uh, and become the property of men. Uh, and there are so many things which our women have been suffered. And because thousands of years ago, since it has been, therefore today many women are extremely victim of this, and they are not able to contribute in their countries, in their societies, and hence there is huge imbalance between men contribution and the woman contribution, and that makes the situation more worse when even developed country like the people who claim the champion of democracy, especially West, I'm talking critically, especially America, especially mostly other developed country. But if we see the data or statistics, still the mostly crime or discrimination are highest in terms of women. They are. If we see their parliament, number of women, they are very less. If we see doctors, scientists, or millionaires, people in Western, almost all are men. Let's say 80-90% are men, 10-20% are women, as compared to the population in our countries in West where we live. So I'm not criticizing the countries. Here I'm talking about the behavior and attitude from thousands of years we have been doing. And for this result, the pain body within women have extremely high at the moment. And that why our world is not in peace, because our women are not in peace. So therefore, this episode will specifically address the issue of pain body, and that pain body usually uh, have the end result in form of women become more suppressed at work, at home. Mostly ratios are everywhere in the world. Uh, Extramarital relationship or issue of egoic problem between male and female because of extramarital um, or illegal or unlawful relationship, and is and their acceptance in the countries, in the societies, have tortured the women also, along with men as well. Of course, not all men are to be more egoic or bossy character. So because of this, our world is very imbalanced. Like we are not balanced, and therefore our pain body within women also have emotional and hormonal as well. We see this. Eckart Tolle, the author of the book which we are reading now in this course, he says the menstruation cycle or the hormonal changes within women, which drive the woman as well most of the time, are due to this suppression, are due to um, this ancient fight. Women fight from the ancient time to the modern age as well. And how does he says? Let's try to read it, and we need to understand that it will help us. We men, I'm a man as well. Men, how we can make a great relationship with our woman, as a wife, as a girlfriend, as a friend, as a colleague, as a daughter, as a in any form. And also this session will help women to understand better that their any feeling of being victim is actually can only be cured when you will be more self-aware, when you will be more empowered by yourself, when you will leverage yourself and not to give your all things in the hand of cruel men or egoic men. So then you are able to work and live independently. That will help you too as well. So that's why we are starting this reading. And let's start our reading in we and the book which we selected as usual is the world renowned spiritual teacher Eckart Tolle, which is my favorite, and also the people in the world, they are reading and following him as well. and what he thinks about female pain body, that's we are going to read. We have few pages in this, like I think 2, 3, 4 pages, and hopefully we will finish within 10-20 minutes. So, so let's start our reading. So I would ask Jenny if you can start reading for this.
The collective female pain body. The collective dimension of the pain body has different strands in it. Tribes, nations, races all have their own collective pain body, some heavier than others, and most members of that tribe, nation, or race have a share in it to a greater or lesser degree. Almost every woman has her share in the collective female pain body, which tends to become activated particularly just prior to the time of menstruation. At that time, many women become overwhelmed by intense negative emotion. The suppression of the feminine principle, especially over the past 2,000 years, has enabled the ego to gain absolute supremacy in the collective human psyche.
Thank you. So there is some other points as well, which Eckart Tolle is saying, as some women are tend to become more superior than men, and they are in race than men. And of course, there is a reason about the pain body. They want to come out from the patriarchal system of our society, in which the men are dominant, and that's of course this supremacy of the men, and the woman efforts to replace it is very much obvious, but on ethically it is also not right. We are not going to swap the men supremacy in the world. That is again is a gender bias. So there is no difference then between men and women. Like if men they suppress the woman, then now if women are replacing the men, it means now the women are going to suppress men. No, we are not going for that. What we need to do, we need to make a balance of both female energy, masculine energy, and feminine energy. And that is for the peace of the entire world. And that's we are desiring here to understand it. So let's go further. That Eckart Tolle has something good news about women. Of course, a lot of women have good news from the Eckart Tolle. What Eckart Tolle is saying, that the women are the less mind identified than men, which is good. Men are more mind identified. They think that they are more wiser, and of course it make them more superior feeling as well, more what we call it, more gender biased as well against when they come across in interpersonal relationship. However, women are less mind driven. It does mean that the woman may be driven more by emotions, or may be driven by more soul, by spirit. So those women who are driven by spirit mostly, they are on the path of on the enlightenment, and on a higher level than men. But if women are driven by emotions only, then that is a point of problem, because the emotions are temporary and are generated temporarily for survival, for just temporary cause. And if there are decisions made based on emotion, of course that are not going to be ideal for women's long-term progress in their life. However, because of less mind identification within women, that can be replaced with more spirit based identification within women. So there are four important component within any man or woman. One, we have a mind, body, heart, spirit. Mind, body, heart, spirit. So women are more driven by heart or spirit. Men are more identified with the mind and body. So there are different energies and their domination. So good news is that because the ultimate survival with the highest quality is related with soul and the heart, therefore women have an advantage in this. And in today's world, women have more edge than men for order to achieve peace and in order to avoid violence in the world. Therefore, if you see that in our medical profession, mostly we have a female staff because we need love. We need emotions to understand and to work with patients. In education sector, we mostly have women, especially in primary and secondary level, where the child or the student of younger age, they need more love and more affection in order to survive in this world and learning. So women are playing amazing part in this because of these great things which men have lesser than the women. And these two things also will be helpful for women to come out of her suppression. And that is going on. That's why women are going become more spiritual than men. Women are going to be more enlightened than men. And women are going to be more peaceful than men. So there is a good news for men as well. But it does not mean that the men cannot do. The question is how the man use his mind over spirit and the feelings or heart so that he can also go towards enlightenment as well, like women are. But at the moment, the statistics are little in favor of women, and that is a very good because more women will be empowered, more balance of female and male energies in the world, and more peace will be achieved in the world as well. And that's in this reading we will get to know as well. So let's start our reading is quickly. So I would ask Mike if you can read this paragraph, please.
Although women have egos, of course the ego can take root and grow more easily in the male form than in the female. This is because women are less mind identified than men. They are more in touch with the inner body and the intelligence of the organism where the intuitive faculties originate. The female form is less rigidly encapsulated than the male, has greater openness and sensitivity toward other life forms, and is more attuned to the natural world. If the balance between male and female energies had not been destroyed on our planet, the ego's growth would have been greatly curtailed. We would not have declared war on nature. We would not be so completely alienated from our being.
Thank you. It's a great reading again. So that is also important for our survival in this planet. We have a biggest issue of environment. We don't know what's going on in next coming years. Maybe we have a big threat from unseen viruses which can extinct our species as a human being from entire planet. We don't know. We don't know any tsunami can grab the whole entire world. We don't know. So there is a hope that if we are in balance on our planet in terms of masculine and female energy, that will impact on the environment physically as well. And then we can save our planet as well. This is so important points which I'm describing here. Let's try to read the last paragraph. I think it's the last one. No, I think the second last. It's more advanced as well. Uh, if you see our church or our religious institution in our society, unfortunately, many of religious institution all over the world, they have contributed negatively in order to suppress women as well, along with men. Mostly religious laws and interpretations are support or in favor of men. And therefore, millions of women were killed or tortured only for name of religion, because of their religions or man-made interpretation of different divine verses have been misquoted, misrepresentative, and hence we have big uh, killing of women in history, especially in Christian history, when the church they did decided to kill so many women in different times for only name of religion, and even women were not had a right to become the head of church or become any prestige position in the society, even not given the right of vote. um, like I said, women were given the right to vote politically in and society. Uh, I think in UK in just 100 years ago, less than 100 years ago. So it means that they were not be equal citizen in many Western society. How we were backward on that? Can we imagine that? Can we determine that what the level of unethical and brutality of morality level where we were? So even in many society recently, from last 100 to 100 years ago, in many Muslim society, women were not even rated as a human being. Can you believe that? I can't believe that. That women were not considered as a human as well. Only human being term were mostly associated with men. And now it's a blessing that we are in more open-minded uh, world now, where women have also all their rights which men can have, and that is a struggle which going on. So let's try to read it what the Eckart Tolle is saying about women, and what are the darkest chapter in our women human history, that how did we suppress human, unfortunately. So I would ask Vicky if you can read it, please.
Nobody knows the exact figure because records were not kept, but it seems certain that during a 300-year period, between 3 and 5 million women were tortured and killed by the Holy Inquisition, an institution founded by the Roman Catholic Church to suppress heresy. This surely ranks together with the Holocaust as one of the darkest chapters in human history. It was enough for a woman to show a love for animals, walk alone in the fields or woods, or gather medicinal plants to be branded a witch, then tortured and burned at the stake. The sacred feminine was declared demonic, and an entire dimension largely disappeared from human experience. Other cultures and religions, such as Judaism, Islam, and even Buddhism, also suppress the female dimension, although in a less violent way. Women's status was reduced to being childbearers and men's property. Males who denied the feminine even within themselves were now running the world, a world that was totally out of balance. The rest is history, or rather a case of insanity.
Thank you. It's a great reading. And it's a very pathetic feeling as well. I have about, and I feel very sorry about myself as a being a man as well, that we have been doing this thing, and still we are doing in many other dimension in the world, whether in home, at work, in society, in parliament, in sports, and a lot of other things we can imagine. So that there is a great need of make a balance so that the pain body within women of all over the world can be leveraged towards positive energy, and they can contribute as men, or even better than men as well. So that is really emotional reading, I must say. Of course, don't want to go in details. Otherwise, uh, that is going to be more emotional than what we want to learn from this, or what we should be ready practically for. Uh, like I'm a man, I want to help, or I want to make other women to be more conscious and be more independent, like men, or even better than men. That's why I have a family. I always want my spouse, my daughter, to be more independent and from uh, beyond under the command of the men as well. But of course, it's a long journey. It's a struggle which our women have to do. And the better man is that man who support uh, to enlighten a woman, and ignore or reject the whole suppression of men against women, which have been doing from last thousands of centuries, and even with the name of religion, with the name of biological, physiological dimensions, or in any name. Of course, that is not, this world is now different. And that is only hope and good thing which I can give you, that any woman can go any heights of success, any mode of life they want to live, and they deserve to even lead the men as well. So, and I tell you a quick story. I was watching an interview of very famous coach. He was a millionaire, and he had I think great millions of followers. And when he was mentioning about his family, that was very, very horrific, very uh, negative from my perception. He was mentioning that what he has achieved, and he was achieved. I got millions of dollars. I got big business, and I got wife, a beautiful wife. And that make me really think in a thinking mode, that for him, even though he is a established coach, but he sees the woman as a property. Like he was counting, I have a beautiful Rolls Royce car, Mercedes, I have a big bank balance, and I have a wife. So he is rating wife as a property indirectly, which I did perceive. And he was, of course, saying it unconsciously because he was not consciously, otherwise, he would mention his wife in other, uh, with other way of the sentence which he was speaking, other than the car, bank balance, and wife. Of course, wife or woman in the life is not as your car, as your house, as your business. And that's I'm explaining you how we have a narrow mindedness against women, and how we think unconsciously about our wife, even though we are on a highest position in the society. Still we are backward when we think about our females. So okay, that's the last paragraph, and let's read it, and we will close up this episode for today. So I would ask Jenny if you can read it, please.
Who is responsible for the sphere of the feminine that could only be described as acute collective paranoia? We could say, of course, men are responsible, but then why in many ancient pre-Christian civilizations, such as the Sumerian, Egyptian, and Celtic, were women respected and the feminine principle not feared but revered? What is it that suddenly made men feel threatened by the female? The evolving ego in them. It knew it could gain full control of our planet only through the male form, and to do so, it had to render the female powerless. In time, the ego also took over most women, although it could never become as deeply entrenched in them as in men. We now have a situation in which the suppression of the feminine has become internalized, even in most women. The sacred feminine, because it is suppressed, is felt by many women as emotional pain. In fact, it has become part of their pain body, together with the accumulated pain suffered by women over millennia through childbirth, rape, slavery, torture, and violent death. But things are changing rapidly now. With many people becoming more conscious, the ego is losing its hold on the human mind. Because the ego was never as deeply rooted in woman, it is losing its hold on women more quickly than on men.
Thank you. It's a great reading as well. So Eckart Tolle is saying that we are coming out of clutches of pain body which women have. Uh, and although the women were more egoic in recently because of the response they give to the men, but at the same time they are releasing the ego very, very quickly, and that's why they are becoming more empowered as well themselves, and they are becoming more enlightened than men, and therefore the pain body will be handled very wisely, and they will come out as well in this. Um, so Cartoli is saying also important thing, that it's not like the throughout the human history the women were disrespected or under-respected. No, it's not like that. There are some civilization where the where the women were rated very highest in as equal to as men as well. So he is mentioning about something, but he is also pointing out possibly, which I'm perceiving from his reading, that men did not focus on those civilization or those ages or eras in history where women were also more than or equal to men as well. But overall picture of the woman condition in history were very pathetic. That's why we men tend to think that the women are as it is like in past, like in ancient time or since the ancient time. So therefore it has become our men's psychology to feel threatened by empowered women. And that happens with many egoic men. When your wife or your spouse start to earn more income, then men start to feel threatened. Sometimes men also feel threatened when she is more demanding in sexually than men. Then he feel threatened again. Um, he feel threatened again when women take interest in other people, in other men as well. So there are so many ways where the man feel threatened, whether it is acceptable in society or not, but man has insecurity from female. Therefore, many men become very and egocentric against women from the beginning of the relationship, so that that woman should not raise independently. Uh, but actually, lack of awareness about female energy, they men are at fault. They are at mistake, and they men unfortunately contributed negatively in order to build the good relationship with their family, with their wife, with their spouses. And hence, the only last hope is that the females and women have to register their divorces as an initiative, uh, as a solution from the men. Uh, but I'm not saying that all women are at right, or women's they do these uh, tendency of broken families and betraying the man because of suppression of men or something. No, it is not like that. We're talking about general overall picture of condition of a woman in our world. I'm not even talking about society. Uh, I'm talking about the whole world. I'm not talking about United States or United Kingdom or Australia or India or Pakistan or Middle East or African women. All women have been suffered. All women, in one way or other way, directly or indirectly, brutally or with legal torture, with illegal torture, or so. We're talking about overall picture of the woman as a being, like men are being. We have to work on to come out from our pain body, which we have been living as a female from thousands of years till now. So, Eckart Tolle is giving us hope. Eckart Tolle is giving us a great motivation, and it's very, very valuable. I believe so. That's it. So next week we will learn this pain body. Is a last episode in this course about national and racial pain body and how it impact on our awareness, impact on our quality of life and personal development and interpersonal relationship and relationship in the society about our pain body. Any question or any comment anybody wants before I close this? All right, thank you very much. Yeah, Mike, you want to say something?
Oh, I just we're having to get ready for church and everything. I just wanted to say I really enjoyed today's class, both of them.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Vicky and I both.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for participation. and see you next Sunday in the next class with the new topics. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Goodbye. Talk to you later.